Hello, everyone. So this is the first episode of the CLG Faithful podcast. I'm your host, Nefarious. Joining me is my co-host. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Artrin, 1680, and I'm a huge CLG fan.
All right. So we'll be trying a bunch of different stuff, and please give us your feedback at the end of the episode, what you liked, what you didn't like, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's start off with League. So this weekend, CLG played Team Solo Mid, and we had a really good game one, but unfortunately, we didn't have a very good game two and three, and then we ultimately lost the series. Now, after that, we came back the next day, we played Dignitas, and we won that 2-0. The first game was a classic CLG game full of heart attacks, and ultimately, CLG was able to beat out Someday on Fiora, and the rest of the team did toss. And then we followed that up with a comfortable second win. So, what are your thoughts on the series? Both
Briefly,
series.
on the TSM series, classic CLG throws. Game one was basically, you know, go. Game two, we got stomped, and game
So,
three, it was also a stomp.
so game two, we did the same thing that particularly annoys me whenever we do a CLG is that we leave up the OP pick and then we try to play around it.
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, it's one of those things that I think they believe that they can do, but when it comes down to it, when you've got such top tier talent on TSM, it's something that you're going to say, hey, yeah, I'm just going to play around that.
Now, the upside of that is, if they do manage to play around it, then that leaves a very powerful tool because they can leave it up in pick ban phase, and then the enemy starts thinking, oh no, they left it up. Do they want us to pick it? Do they have something planned for it? Or do we let slime? Do they pick it up? Something like that. So I
Exactly.
can see the reasoning why they would want to be able to play around it, but uh, I think a pick like Camille is just very too powerful to leave up.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's one of those things where you really don't see it being played by anyone else. And I imagine in scrims, they've probably tried a lot and might have had success, but on the stage, it's totally different.
Sure. And a lot of people. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the second game for the Dignitas game, right?
Yeah.
We saw them give Fiora, and that went to Someday. Now, that's not just any top laner, it's Someday.
Yeah. He's basically Fiora Master. It's ridiculous. And he really showed it. Like that entire game, I was on the edge of my seat watching it. Like, oh god, Darshan, you're getting poked out by the Fiora, obviously. And really, Dignitas was completely carried by Someday on the game.
Absolutely. That game was what, Someday versus the world?
Pretty much, yeah.
But you know what? I don't think CLG played that bad that game. There was that one point Darshan 1v3. He defended them, then he went back in. But
Yes.
other than that, I thought the game actually wasn't that bad.
It wasn't horrible.
We there were times when I thought we were going to collapse. However, uh, I think COG's experience with split pushing actually managed to help them a lot because they were able to fend off Fiora, and yet somehow we were still able to keep the base alive when we had a wave of super minions pushing in as well.
Yeah, and that's basically when the heart attack started.
Yep. But ultimately, Dignitas does what Dignitas does.
Yes, and they throw it Baron.
So after that, CLG made sure not to give Someday Fiora, and from there we had a much more comfortable game. It looked much more like the CLG evolved with rotations. We even had a little bit of a lane swap for a while.
Yeah, I actually is one of those things I hate about the meta, and when I saw it coming back this week, I was like, oh god, because CLG has been okay with lane swaps. I think they were a lot more stronger the previous years when there wasn't as much lane swapping, even though they seemed to master it a little bit.
We
Um,
were known as the lane swap team.
yes, yes, and it just I think the problem is that our bot lane just struggling a little bit right now. I'm not sure if it's because of the meta and Stixay isn't a super fan of playing Varus, or if it's just like they're having some issues internally. But Aframu's being his shot calling badassness, and Stixay is doing work. But I think right now they're, and especially shown in game two, Smithy and Huhi are carrying.
And you mentioned Hoovy, right? I think he's been a very strong point this year for CLG. He's
Absolutely.
probably been our best performer.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Right now, him and Smithy are basically top tier, right? I think for their positions in NA, and they've shown it in their games with their just moments of brilliance and getting an amazing play. I mean, I will admit they have shown some moments of stupidity as well, kind of over chasing or overstaying their welcome. But in that game, who he definitely showed that he is in the running for a top mid.
Honestly, that sums up CLG as a whole this split. We have moments of brilliance. We have games where we look like we've come back. We've got the classic CLG macro game with the rotations. And then, we make one mistake and it falls apart and it looks like we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Move on to Counter-Strike.
Yep, let's do that. But just as a final note, I do think we will improve. I do believe in this roster. They have the talent. They've already proven that. And it's a matter of adapting to that meta. It does not suit us right now. I think that's painfully obvious, but we've seen improvements each week.
Absolutely.
We'll get there. We will make playoffs. I'm fully confident of that.
So I guess we'll start off with CLG Blue. They played this weekend. They ended up going 0-2 against Immortals. They put up a fight, but in the end, Immortals basically stomped on top of them in both maps, including Ash and Train, Train was their pick, and it's just bad.
And what was this for? What tournament?
This was for, I believe it was the IEM Katowice qualifier.
Okay, and this is following up when we beat Denial 16-9 on Dust 2.
I'm not sure.
And I believe looks like we dominant showing the best of 3 against NRG, which we won 16-4 on Train and 16-3 on Mirage. So I'm not too familiar with CSGO, but I know CSGO Red did play as well.
Yeah, CLG Red played. They were playing in the Haste tournament. Oh, no, sorry, that was Overwatch. They were playing... in some tournament. I'm totally losing right now. Oh.
Can't find them at all?
No, I had it written down somewhere, but...
All right. I mean, in that case, apologies to CSGO Red fans. Can't quite remember the name of the tournament.
They ended up winning. They beat Gunners and Chuggers in OT. It was tied. They brought it back and tied 15-15. Went to OT and won. Then they beat SoCal Stars 2-1 in a best of 3 for second place. They lost to SoCal Stars 2-1. It was the CPP game, which was actually streamed, that they won 16-9 on cash. And then in playing for second place, SoCal Stars beat them 2-1 and ended up finishing.
Okay. I believe you're talking about the Esports Arena Santa Ana Showdown.
That's what it is. Showdown 3.
Yeah. All right. So moving on then. In other news, for people who don't know, we did sell our Halo squad a little bit last year. They were the World Championship. Well, they won the World Championship for Halo. But ultimately, we did move on with them. Now, as for COD, similar thing. We have not officially disbanded. I couldn't find any news as a whole for the COD squad, but it seems like they're no longer a team. They're no longer together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did hear that they did disband.
All right. In that case, let's talk about Smash.
Yeah, so, I mean, the biggest news, I think, was PewFat. So that's PewPewU and SFAT. They've both re-signed to CLG for the entirety of 2017. So we'll be seeing more of them. In SFAT's vlog that he released for January, he announced... sorry. He announced on there he'll be at Beast 7. So that's it. The about middle of the month. I think it starts February 17th. And he's going to be playing in singles as well as doubles. He'll be playing in doubles with Armada. So that's going to be amazing. And he's also, or sorry, he's playing doubles with Ice, and he's going to be staying at Armada's house in Sweden. It's pretty cool.
All right, all the best of luck to him. And we do have an upcoming tournament, B7, and we'll have SFAT who'll be attending it.
Yeah, so that's the one that's happening in Sweden, and he's going to be there in melee singles and doubles. So that's going to be crazy to watch, because he's rated in the top 10 of Smash right now. I believe 7th in SSBM rankings, and I think he's going to put on a good show for us.
He's definitely been making some waves this year. CLG is currently very good, especially when it comes to double.
Yeah, SFAT, Pew Pew U, they are basically undefeated right now. Well, they've definitely lost, but they feel like they're undefeated in the last few tournaments. They've taken down the great likes of Leffen, and Ice, and Mango, and S2, Mewtwo King. It's just been...
All right, so to round things up, the Overwatch team actually played recently, and they played in the Haste Overwatch tournament, qualifier number 4, and they lost to Doot Doot, and that was to second place. In other words, they got seeding. Both of them already qualified for the main event. So from there, CLG would play, and then they placed 3rd to 4th, tied with Envision Esports, and ultimately Hammers Esports won the tournament. So, I think they had a decent showing. Obviously it would have been nice if they had won, but the best of luck to them for future tournaments.
Yeah, especially this is one of their first tournaments under the CLG brand. So it's great to see them, putting in the effort, and hopefully see them in the future.
Definitely. So, what do you think was your particular favorite game of the week?
Right now, I think my favorite game of the week to watch was probably CLG Red, playing in Sports Arena tournament. When they were playing, the only one that was actually streamed was their game against CPP. And right at the end, Miss Harvey with the typical BM of CSGO. The final kill of the final round of the match, she gets the knife kill through the smoke. It was pretty great.
All right. For me, I'd have to say it was the league games this week. Not particularly sure if I have a favorite one. If anything, it just feels nice that we finally got a win on the board. So now we're not, all the way at the bottom, down with Envious and Dignitas, just a step above them.
It's great to see. We're out of relegation spots right now, but I mean, it is only week 3, so we've got what is that, like 10 more to go.
Well, we can't just take it easy, right? It is been almost a third of the way into the thing, but
yeah.
The meta will change eventually, and I think one thing people have to realize is that not every split is going to be our split. It's just the nature of the things. Doesn't mean we have to be happy about it. Doesn't mean we should be complacent about it. But there are going to be times when we just don't do well.
Exactly, and
go ahead. We'll see. They'll improve.
Exactly. We'll hopefully see the boys and girls all playing great these few weeks, especially, and hopefully it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I guess one memorable thing for me that happened was during the Dignitas match. Huhi was just sitting in a bush near. So you have the Baron area, and then you have the red side, red buff. And Huhi was sitting in the bush right above red buff, and he just sat there for almost a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just waiting there, sitting there as Syndra. And then CLG tries to go in and get a fight, and Huhi comes on the side, and he's in the middle of 4 people of Team Dignitas. Somehow manages to stay alive, takes the blast cone over the wall, and gets a 3-man stun.
Yes.
He does die in the end, but it was very crucial because we got 3 kills out of it, so it was a 3-for-1 straight. It was just this, what's going on,
Exactly. It basically set up the rest of the game at that point. That was a cleanup. It showed, yep, we can do a 5-on-5 fight, and we can get this, and we can push to win. And it was shortly after that they did make their final.
All right. So I guess that's been the first episode of the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, there's definitely a lot we know we can do to improve. We'd love to hear it from you.
Like better notes next time.
Yeah. So please contact us at clgfaithful@gmail.com, or you can contact us directly at Twitter.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.